Hi, I'm Belinda. Thanks so much for coming to join us today. We're going to do a little flow and just have a little fun and hopefully get you moving if you've been stuck inside for a little while. So let's just start by finding a comfortable seated position. You can sit with your legs crossed or whatever feels good for you. And then starting to find your shoulders resting over your hips. Take a little curl under with your tailbone. And just imagine like there's a string pulling you all the way up. Closing down the eyes. Taking your palms to your knees, either facing up or facing down. And starting to sink into your breath. Taking a scan from the crown of your head all the way down through your body. Just noticing how you're feeling today. If there's anywhere that's asking for a little bit of extra attention. Or if there's some areas that feel really good as well. Noticing where you feel the breath in your body. If it's up in your shoulders, can you try to shift it down into the belly? Maybe broadening through your collarbones by peeling the shoulders back. Continuing to grow long and tall through the spine. Feeling grounded and supported by the floor beneath you. And taking just a few more breaths here as you continue to scan through your body. Collecting up those areas that feel like they need some attention and letting yourself focus there as we move through the practice, but also highlighting and letting those areas that do feel good really shine. When you're ready, you can keep your eyes closed or open them to roll over onto hands and knees. Setting yourself up with your knees underneath your hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, toes are tucked or untucked. And we'll start rolling through a few cat-cows, taking a big inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, pull the chest through. And on the exhale, press into the mat, pull the belly button towards the spine, scoop and round through your back. Big inhale to open all the way out. And exhale to pull everything up through the midline. Again, like that string is pulling you from the belly button up towards the ceiling. And then maybe continuing this way, or if you'd like to move some circles with the hips round and round, or roll back and forward. Maybe close those eyes and just continue to find that communication with your body, finding what feels good for you. And we'll take one more full round of breath here. And then coming back through the center on the inhale, tucking your toes, shifting your gaze just out in front of your fingertips, peel the shoulders back, pull the belly button towards your spine. On the exhale, press into your hands to float your shins just a little, just a few centimeters off the mat. Gaze is steady, shoulders are back. Staying for 3, 2, and on 1, starting to send your hips all the way towards the sky, shifting back towards your heels. Again, once you arrive here, maybe pedaling one knee and then the other, straightening out through the arms, bending your biceps forward, triceps back. Seeing if you can shift your belly back towards your thighs, point the tailbone even taller towards the sky. And then for the next 2 breaths, melting your heels down towards the ground, keeping that gaze down in between your toes towards your knees or just to the floor in front of you. And when you're ready, inhaling, coming onto tippy toes and taking as many steps as you can to make your way to the front of the mat. Maybe wiggling the fingers out as you move. Trying to feel that length through the back of the legs. Once you arrive at the top of the mat, taking the feet to hips distance. On the inhale, find a long spine. On the exhale, melt forward. Bend the knees as much as you need. Turn the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Let the head come down last. Maybe grab onto opposite elbows if that feels good and take a little roll side to side here. Or if you're working on that flexibility, maybe grabbing onto the back of the ankles and seeing if you can bring yourself in even smaller. Staying for just one more breath here. Releasing whatever grip that you have, and on the inhale, pressing into the feet, starting to roll one vertebrae up at a time. Slowly, slowly come all the way up. When you reach the top, rolling the shoulders back, peeling the shoulders open, turning your palms towards the front of your mat. Let's take a big inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. On the exhale, bring the palms together, draw them down through the center, come all the way down. On the inhale, finding a long spine. On the exhale, bending that right knee, take your left foot all the way to the back of the mat, come down into that back knee. Going to tuck or untuck the toes, and from here, think about hugging the inner thighs together, square up through your hips. And you can stay sinking into that hip flexor, or maybe come up onto your right knee. Or maybe taking a big inhale, sweep your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. If it feels okay, keep the belly pulled in as you lift up out of the hips, and maybe start to send the biceps back towards the shoulders, turning your chest up towards the ceiling. Little baby back bend here. If it's a bit too early, don't worry. Stay for one more breath. And on the inhale, bring those hands all the way back down to the mat. We'll start to slide our right foot out in front of us. Come onto that right heel and pull the toes back towards you. So you can stay here. If you need a block or a prop or something to hold on to, go for it. If you have a little bit more length, maybe coming forward with a long spine, wiggling your fingers out in front, maybe even starting to scoop and round, coming all the way into the knee. Whatever feels best for you today. And stay here for one more breath. And then wiggling the fingers back, rebend that right knee. We'll start to take it all the way to the outside of your mat. And wiggle the right hand to the inside, lifting the back toes so you can step that left leg back a little bit longer. Now, option to stay here, nice and lifted. Just notice if your toes feel better facing forward or out to the side. We'll stay here with a long spine. Option to stay here, maybe wiggle down onto the forearms. Or if you'd like to challenge that back leg a little bit more, maybe bend the left knee, reach the right hand all the way back around for the outside edge of that foot. You can take your gaze back towards your right foot, or your left foot rather. Maybe come down onto that forearm as well. Just looking for a big stretch through the hip flexors, gazes back behind you or out in front of you. Last breath here. And then releasing that hand, bringing it all the way back underneath the right shoulder. Wiggle both hands back up if they're down. We'll tuck our back toes, lift the back knee, take a big step all the way back with that right foot to come back into your downward facing dog. Moving nice and slowly, melt those heels back down to the back of the mat. Staying for one more breath as long as you can. Dig the fingers into the mat. On the inhale, shifting your gaze forward, rise up onto tippy toes. We'll step our left foot all the way in between the hands, come down onto that right knee. We'll take that same flow again on the other side. Think about wrapping the hips towards each other. Square up through your hip flexors. Draw the inner thighs towards each other. You can stay here sinking into that right side or maybe start to lift up. If it feels okay, maybe taking a big inhale, lift up. And on the exhale, lift up from the center of your spine, from the ribs, peeling the biceps back towards the ears. Long through the neck, gaze to the ceiling. If that's too much for your neck, then shift the gaze back forward. And on the inhale, come all the way down. We'll take our hands down next to our knee. Start to wiggle that left foot forward, peel the toes back towards you. Nice and long through the back of that leg. Same options here, maybe wiggling the hands all the way out. Maybe keeping that spine super long as you come all the way down. Or just holding wherever you like. And when you're ready, we'll take both hands to the inside of that left foot, start to bend the knee, wiggle it out to the side. We'll sink into our hips one more time, opening up through the chest, and then maybe starting to walk down onto forearms, or bending back to reach for that foot, or coming all the way down into the right forearm. Maybe bend that knee in just a little closer. And on the next inhale, dropping your right foot all the way down, we'll bring our left hand back underneath our shoulders, walk back up onto that right arm. Tucking the right toes, take a big step as slowly as you can. Bring that left foot all the way to the back of the mat and melt the heels down for your downward facing dog. And one more breath here. And on the inhale, peeling belly button towards your spine as you lift up onto tippy toes. Keep that big, big arch in your spine as you start to come all the way over. Belly button pulls in until your shoulders are over your wrists. We're going to wiggle our hands out just a little bit. You can come down onto your knees here if you prefer. Think about wrapping your triceps back, biceps face forward. Peel the belly button in, shifting your gaze out in front. If you're on knees or toes, let's press off of our tippy toes. Bring those shoulders towards your fingertips. And then slowly, slowly come all the way down. Lovely. From here, we'll wiggle our hands off to the side of the mat, coming onto fingertips. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Take a big inhale, peel your shoulders back, press up. Open out through the collarbones just as high as feels okay for you. Take an exhale, come all the way down. 2 more like that. Take a big inhale, slowly ripple up. Think about squeezing your bottom, press forward from the chest. Exhale, release. Next inhale as we rise up. Option to stay here or start to turn towards the right. Take your gaze back towards your right toes. And back through the center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back through the center. We'll ripple all the way down. Bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders or beside your ribs. We'll roll our shoulders back, tuck the toes, come up through knees or toes. Press yourself all the way back into your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, melt that left heel down towards the ground. We'll sweep our right foot up towards the sky, pressing out from that right heel. On the exhale, come all the way forward. Bring that knee into the nose. Here, press up into your hands. Take a big dome through the shoulders. Tuck your nose in towards your knee. We'll stay here for 3, 2, and on 1, tap that foot in between your hands. We'll stay high on our back toes. Let's take a big inhale, squeeze those inner thighs together. Sweep both arms up towards the sky. Melt down into that left hip flexor. Option here to bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, leave your index fingers out. We'll take a big inhale, press up out of the feet, peel your shoulders back, biceps behind the ears, gaze up towards the ceiling, or in front of you if that's better for your neck. For 1 more breath. And on the inhale, we'll sweep all the way down, hands meet the mat. Start to press long through that right leg, finding as much space as you can. Take a little check here. See if your left leg feels like it's a little bit too close to that right foot, and you can hop it out a little so it's a little bit wider. Again, option to stay here, or if you have the space, melt all the way down. If you'd like to use blocks or props, go for it. We're going to find that wrap through our inner thighs, stability through our low back. Imagine like you've got a bowl of water on your low back. We'll stay here for 1 more breath. On the inhale, wiggle the hands forward. Bend into that right knee. We'll take a big step, come all the way up. On the inhale, find a halfway lift. And on your exhale, melt forward. Finding that forward fold here for 2 more breaths. And on the inhale, pressing into the hands, find your long spine, chest parallel to the ground, hands on the shins or on the floor. Exhale as we melt down, bend into that left knee, we'll take it all the way to the back of the mat. Bending into your left knee. We'll take a big inhale, peel all the way up. On the exhale, bend deeper into that knee. Try to find that balance. Option here again to interlace the fingers. Maybe take them in the way that feels a little bit weird. Then take an inhale, lift up out of the hips, peel the shoulders back. Start to take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Keep that bend in the knee. Pulling back for 3, 2, on 1. Sweeping your hands all the way down. Take your gaze down as you start to find that stability. Lengthen into your left leg. Now, same thing here. Check that right foot. If you feel like you're on railroad tracks, see if you can step it out just a little and start to melt that right heel back. Option to stay long through the spine, holding here, using blocks or a stack of books or a pillow, whatever you have on hand. If you need, you can always come back down into that back knee as well. If you want, maybe melt over that thigh, get a little bit closer. And we'll stay for 1 more breath. On the inhale, pressing into your hands to rise up. We'll bend into that left knee, take a big step, come all the way forward. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale to melt. Take a big inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Peeling the shoulders back, thumbs into the center of the chest, closing down the eyes. Just finding your breath, finding your grounding again. Getting ready to move into a different flow. Let's take a big inhale, sweep all the way up. On the exhale, bring your hands down through heart center. We're going to float our right foot in towards our chest. Peel it up as high as you can. And then start to hinge at the hips. Take your gaze forward as you send that foot out behind you. Come as parallel as you can. We're just staying here for one moment. Peel the shoulders away. And then deep bend in that left knee to come all the way back. We'll turn our right foot so it's parallel with the back of the mat. Wiggle it out to get a little bit longer. Squaring up through your hips, making sure that front knee is tracking towards your first two toes. Take a big inhale, sweep up through the arms. Give yourself a little wiggle, and then peel your fingertips from one direction. So like somebody's pulling you in either direction. Stay really firm in that back leg as well. Keep your gaze forward. We'll stay for one more breath. On the next inhale, flip your front palm, reach forward, exhale, come all the way up and back. Turning your gaze up towards the ceiling. Again, if that doesn't feel so great on your neck, you can go towards the back foot. Staying for one more breath. And on the next inhale, come all the way forward. Left forearm finds that left thigh. Right fingertips reach all the way up and over. Now, option here to challenge your core even more by reaching forward with that left arm. Bring it in line with your right. Dragon Ball Z, power ball going on here. Stay for 3, 2, on 1. Take a big inhale, sweep it all the way up and back. On the exhale, starting to find length in that right leg, and then sweep your right hand all the way down to the inside of that right foot. Start to reach the right arm up towards the sky. If it feels a little bit like your flexibility isn't quite there, then bring that hand back up towards the inside of your knee or onto the shin, wherever feels better. And then notice if your right butt's sticking out. See if you can hug it under. Stack the left hip on top. Then turn that gaze back up towards the ceiling. Last breath here. On the next inhale, sweep that right hand all the way down, and we'll start to wiggle around, walking between our hands, turning both feet so they're parallel to the back of the mat. Bringing your hands under the shoulders. On an inhale, take a halfway lift. On an exhale, start to melt forward. Now there's a few different options here. You can grab onto your big toes, onto your ankles, or start to walk your hands back behind you. If you have an inversion that you'd like to play with here, whether it's a tripod headstand or coming down into a headstand, go for it. If you want to see if you can get a little bit closer to the ground, see if you can wiggle those feet out a little bit further. If it's really easy for you to get to the ground, maybe wiggle those feet in a little bit closer and see if you can walk the hands back even further, sinking down. And then starting to wiggle back through the center, we'll take our hands under our shoulders. On an inhale, take that halfway lift. We'll take our left arm out in front, reach the right hand underneath, all the way over, and start to peel yourself underneath that shoulder. See if you can take your gaze up towards the ceiling. If that hand isn't reaching for the ankle, you can go for the knee, the back of the leg, whatever you like. Keep lifting up. Last breath. Inhaling, coming back through the center, swapping hands. Take the other hand out in front of you, or reach underneath, grab for that ankle or wherever you can, and start to peel yourself under. Maybe take the gaze up to the ceiling or down towards your foot. Just trying to work out any kinks in your back. Nice deep bend here. Opening up through your inner thighs, releasing the lower back. One more breath. And starting to walk back around through the center. Walk all the way back to the front of the mat. Wiggle that foot out to the side. Take a big step, come all the way back, and we'll flow through our vinyasa. Wrap the shoulders back, start to lower down. On an inhale, find your back bend. Untuck the toes, lift up through the chest. Stay for one more breath. And then tucking the toes, coming up through knees or toes to come all the way up and back. Melt your heels back down. Good, last breath here. On the inhale, rising onto your toes, shift your gaze forward. On the exhale, step, hop or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. On the next inhale, we'll rise all the way up. Reach up through the fingertips. Exhale, hands down through heart center. And we'll take that flow on the other side. So starting to sweep that right knee in towards your chest. No, left knee in towards your chest. Bring it all the way up. Start to press that foot back behind you. Come parallel to the mat as much as possible. Press out through your heel. Keep wrapping the inner thighs towards each other. Keep the gaze steady. Stay for one more breath. And then touch the toes all the way back behind you. Turn that foot parallel with the back of the mat. Checking in again with that front knee. Nice deep bend. Take your knee tracking towards the front two toes. Square up through your shoulders. Take a big inhale. Reach long through your fingers. Press out in either direction. And then exhale, relax into it. Gaze is on the front middle finger. Shoulders are peeling back. Imagine yourself being pulled in either direction. One last breath here. On the inhale, flip that front palm. Exhale all the way up and back. Really open up through those top ribs. See how far you can reach back. Maybe take your gaze down towards that back foot if you need, or up towards the sky. Let's take a big inhale. Start to cartwheel all the way forward. Right forearm finds that front leg. Reach all the way up and over. Trying to square up through the shoulders. Stability through both legs. Length and strength in that back leg. Maybe stay here or peel the belly button in. Reach both hands up. Create that energy ball between your hands. Stay for 3, 2, on 1. Take a big inhale. Reach all the way up and back. On the exhale, find length in that front leg. We'll reach that hand all the way forward. Bring it to the inside of the knee, all the way down to the ground. And then find that wrap if your bum's sticking all the way up. See if you can hug it in line with the ankles. Peel open through your shoulders. Gaze is up towards that hand. Imagine like your top hand's going straight up out of your shoulders. Nice and long in the neck for one more breath. This time as you release that hand all the way down, we're going to go straight through our Vinyasa Flow. So wiggle that foot out to the side. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Take a big step to come all the way back. Wrap the elbows back. Triceps back. Biceps forward. Stay for one more breath. Take an inhale, press over tippy toes. Exhale, lower all the way down. On the inhale, untuck the toes, roll the shoulders back, find your back bend. Tuck the toes, take a big inhale, shift it all the way up and back. Press back through the heels. Nearly done here. When you're ready, take an inhale, rise up onto tippy toes, shift your gaze forward. On the exhale, we're going to wiggle our hands in just a little bit. See if you can step, hop, or jump to bring your feet to either side of your hands. So either step together or bend the knees, take a big hop, come all the way forward, and then start to sink down. Just wherever you can with both heels on the ground. We'll bring both hands into heart center, press the knees open. Good, think about sinking down through your hips, growing tall through the spine. Option to stay here, or if you have a crow in your practice, if you'd like to wheel your fingers out in front of you, see if you can take the arms, your knees up as high on your triceps as possible. Take your gaze out in front of you, and then see what it feels like to lift one foot, and then the other, and come back down. Or maybe even starting to lift both feet, tucking up into a little ball. See if you can press up out of those shoulders, and lift your heels up towards your bottom. Good, if that's not happening, you can stay with me in Malasana, or we'll start to slide one arm down to the inside of our knee. Take a big inhale, reach all the way up. Keep playing with that crow if you like. Coming back through the center, we'll slide our arm down, take it over to the other side, take a big reach to come all the way up. If you're in that crow, let's touch back down. We'll come back through the center, taking your hands back behind you. We're just going to walk all the way out until we can come onto our bottom. So sitting nice and tall, bring the toes in towards you. We'll take our gaze towards our knees. You can hold onto the top of your shins or the back of your legs. Start to float the shins to parallel. Option to stay here or reach all the way forward. Now finding that little tuck through the belly, we'll tap our right foot down and bring it back. Left foot down and bring it back. Good, if you have that control. Maybe on the next one, take your right foot all the way to the sky and back. And then left leg to the sky and back. Good. Use the exhales. We'll do 2 more on each side. Last 1, And 1. Good. Keeping your gaze in front of you. Peel the shoulders back. One last little challenge. See if you can super slowly start to send yourself all the way back as you extend your legs. Reach it out. Come all the way down. Let's hold at the bottom. Squeeze your bottom. Squeeze your toes for 3, 2. Embrace the shake on 1. Come all the way down. Give yourself a moment here. Taking a second in that little mini shavasana. Letting your body go for just a moment. Reconnecting to your breath. Start to wiggle our feet in towards our bottom, keeping them out at hips distance. Taking your hands down beside your hips. Squeezing your bottom, starting to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Option to stay here or interlace the fingers. Start to wiggle your triceps underneath your shoulders. Press the back of your thumbs into the ground. Lift up through the chest as high as you can. And keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Imagine like the back of your shoulders are the only thing that'll be on the ground. And your feet and the thumbs. 1 more breath. And release the shoulders, starting to come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Take a little wiggle. Wiggle your feet outside of the mat. Drop the knees in. Option to go through the bridge again, or if you'd like to come up into your wheel or upward bow pose, wiggling the feet back in towards your hips. Either press up into that bridge pose, or biceps just in front of your eyes there. Elbows over wrists. Fingers pointing back towards your shoulders. Take a big inhale. We'll press up with our feet and our hands. Lift all the way up. Taking your gaze back behind you. And then maybe wiggling the feet in. Imagine like you could press your chest against the wall. Gaze is still behind you and your thighs keep hugging towards each other. We've got 3 more breaths. Last 1. And starting to shift forward, tuck your chin, come all the way down. If you walk the feet in, wiggle them back out. Maybe heel toe them back out to the side or hug them into your chest. Take a little roll side to side. Good. Now options here. You can either take your feet straight up to the sky, or if you'd like to lift up, come all the way up into a shoulder stand, go for it. We'll lift our hips up, stack them over our shoulders and start to walk our hands down the back. Or just hang out here for a moment in your waterfall pose. And I'll just shuffle in, whether you're in your shoulder stand or in your waterfall. If you'd like to start to come all the way over into a plow pose with straight or bent legs. If you're up in your shoulder stand, just start to drop your feet with straight or bent knees all the way back overhead. See if you can stack your shoulders over your hips. Your hips over your shoulders. Keep opening up into the back of the legs. Maybe close down the eyes. And then as you're ready, super slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time, come all the way back down until your hips meet the mat. And we'll cross our right knee over our left. Start to send the outside edges of your feet towards either side of the mat. You can hug your knees in towards you, or maybe lift up and grab onto opposite edges of your feet and peel them back down towards you. And take a little experiment. Where does it feel harder or better for you? Is it your feet closer towards your bottom? Or can you press those feet out to either edges of the mat? And then relax down through your shoulders as you keep pulling those hips towards you. 1 more breath here. And then releasing the feet, take them up to the sky. We'll cross the opposite knee over. Again, start to peel the knees towards each other. Hold on to the knees, the shins, wherever you like, maybe the outside edges of the feet. Starting to explore if your feet feel better closer to your bottom or out towards the sides. And with every exhale, relaxing a little bit deeper. Keep trying to turn your tailbone down towards the ground. Last breath here. And release the outside edges of the feet. Start to take them up towards the sky. Bend the right knee in towards you and extend out through your left leg. From here, we'll start to roll our right knee across the body, shifting onto your left hip and taking your gaze out over to the right. You can have that arm straight or bent. Maybe pop a blanket or a book or a pillow, whatever you need underneath that right knee. And close down the eyes. And then bring it back through the center, give it a squeeze. And we'll shift over to the other side. Extend your right leg out, squeeze that left knee in towards your chest. As you roll it over to the right, shuffling onto your right hip. Let that knee come down towards the ground. Our goal is to keep our shoulders on the mat as you take your gaze back over your left shoulder. Just releasing through your lower back. And then rolling back through the center, bringing the knees back in towards your chest. And if there's anything else your body's asking for here, maybe it's a happy baby, maybe you'd like to play in a headstand, maybe it's like a butterfly position, one hand on the heart, one hand on the knees, feel free to take that now. Just 5 breaths, your choice. And when you're ready, drawing the knees back together, coming all the way back down onto your back, starting to find length. Wiggle yourself all the way down the length of your mat. Let your feet fall naturally out from your hips, arms out to the side, palms to the ceiling. Maybe wiggle the shoulders down your back, create plenty of space across the collarbones. And closing down your eyes. And for the next few moments, just sinking into the breath. Letting go of any tension or any holding through the belly. Letting all that work we just did release back into your body. Relax down into the mat. And if you have a little bit of extra time, maybe spend some more time here in Shavasana. If not, gently starting to wake yourself back up. Thank you for coming to practice today. I'll let you stay in your Shavasana and make your way out. Just one last thing before you go. Just checking in and sending one little love note, one little gratefulness to yourself. Maybe for one thing that happened today, or one thing you did, or one thing you were. Just giving that love back into yourself. Thank you for coming to practice and spending some time on your mat today. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.